Hello everyone. Today we are in a village named Nandikandi, which is approximately 70 kilometers away from Hyderabad city. Today we are here to know about an ancient temple which was built by Kalyani Chalukya kings. This temple was constructed between 10th and 11th century by Kalyani Chalukyas. So Kalyani Chalukyas are basically the Chalukya kings who settled in Karnataka. A city named Kalyani was their capital. So that's why they are known as Kalyani Chalukyas. Fortunately, many inscriptions were found by the archaeology department which explained the history of this temple. Today in this video, I am going to tell you many details which are gathered from this particular book written by Dr. Kavuri Srinivas Garu. He has done a lot of research on this temple and wrote this book in the year 2006. So this book actually helped us a lot and I am thankful and fortunate to find this book. So let's try to know all the possible things about this temple. Let's get started. Now we are standing at the main gate of this temple. There is something surprising to know about this gate, but I'll tell you about that by end of this video. Once you look at the top of this main gate, there is something very beautiful. You can see the idol of Nataraja Swami carved on a black stone with extremely clear details. But you are wrong if you think it's only the statue of Nataraja Swami. On the back side of the same stone, they carved Gajalakshmi, which is a very hard thing to do. You can just observe it how hard it is. Immediately after we enter the main gate, on the immediate right hand side we can see a lots of idols. I mean the broken idols. These were actually broken by the invaders. The villagers collected all these bits and pieces and arranged them like this so that people like us can see them. And one more thing is the most of these idols are Nagas. In Indian culture and temples, Nagas have a very important place. I think India is the only country where we have a dedicated day to feed the poisonous snakes. I'm referring to the Naga Panchami and Nagula Chaviti. As we walk into the temple through the second gate, we can see two elephant heads on both the sides. One head was broken and one head was very nice, and the floor was extremely smooth. Not because of any polishing, but because lakhs of people walked through the same steps. Bro, 1 minute. There is something written here. Bro, this board says that this is an ancient monument and not to spoil anything here. Bro, I have a doubt. Why can't they just add 2 or 3 lines more to explain the history of this temple so that people like you and me can read? Why can't they just do that? Bro, I don't know. Please don't ask controversial questions. After entering the temple compound, on the left side you can see this small pillar with lots of inscriptions on all the 4 sides. So this pillar is actually revealing a lot of details. I try to know what this pillar is actually trying to tell us. So out of this I found that this pillar is telling about an incident where an official from Chalukya's kingdom gifted an entire village named Kovuru to this particular temple. So that Kovuru is presently known as Kohir, which is in Telangana. Another thing this pillar is trying to explain is, long ago there lived a person named Munakaya, and impressed by his talents, Bulujaya and 2 other guys gifted some farmland to this temple actually. While gifting that farmland, they also mentioned that the income from that particular farmland must be used to meet the daily expenses of the deity and to maintain a Veda Patashala in the temple, and also to feed the sadhus and sannyasis who come here to do their sadhana. So they clearly mentioned why they are giving those gifts also. So it's a kind of honor to the village. But there is something I didn't understand from this pillar, that is, if once you look at this particular picture, a doctor is treating someone's leg and an assistant is helping with some kind of material. I really could not understand why this particular carving was done on this pillar, because this pillar is not giving any information about some medicine or something like that. So this is something I didn't really understand. And here we can see statue of Buddha actually, but here Buddha has 4 hands and he has a japamala in one hand and a weapon in one hand also. I don't know why Buddha had 4 hands. So we can actually assume that long ago there was a lot of influence of Gautama Buddha in this area. Maybe they are thinking that Gautama Buddha is actually equivalent to Dakshinamurti, which is actually another incarnation of Lord Shiva, who actually looks the same way with 4 hands, a japamala and a weapon in hand. So by these confusing idols we can understand that there is much more which needs to be understood about this temple. Guys, friends, this guy is hiding something from you. Actually that gifted farmland is approximately 250 acres and now nothing is remaining. Everything was occupied by people. Don't tell him that I told you this. And on the right side of the entrance gate, we can see this pillar named as Dvipa Stambha, and there is a lot of inscription on this pillar too. This inscription is informing us that a king named Tailapada II or Avahamalla established this particular pillar. He ruled this area from 976 to 996. Actually, the temple was built between 10th and 11th century, but this pillar was established between 976 to 996, which means this particular pillar is at least a century older than the original temple construction. Bro, one doubt. Why would anyone construct a Dvipastambha before constructing a temple? That's a right question. So by these proofs, we can understand that there was already a temple before the present temple that we are seeing here. And the Chalukya rulers reconstructed or renovated this particular temple. The archaeology department also believes that the Shivalingam is actually many centuries older than all this construction that we are seeing here. So now we are on the back side of the Garbhagriha of the original temple. If once you observe this, the construction is very fabulous and it's very complex. So the ancient Indian architects designed this temple in such a way that the main temple and the main pillars will have multiple sharp edges just like a star. You can just observe them. Come on. So just by observing this construction, you can see that many sharp edges were drawn, and these were completely different blocks. They just adjusted one over the other to make this temple construction. And 1000 years ago, they did this extremely perfectly. Now we are entering the main temple, and there are some real interesting things inside. Let's explore them. Come on. As you enter this temple, these black stone pillars will attract your eyesight. Look how finely they are polished and how complex they are. So there were epics from Mahabharata and Ramayana carved on this, and there are some incidents from the Hindu epics and the Puranas also. You can see some artists playing different kinds of instruments and singing also. If you observe these inner pillars, these pillars will have multiple sharp edges just like a star. As I told you earlier, ancient architects designed this temple in such a way that this will have star shapes at all the places. Once you observe these pillars, these are very smooth and neat to look at. Actually, the temple priest told me that they are regularly polishing these stones with organic coconut oil to maintain the smoothness of the stones. So you can just see how clear and excellent they are simply looking. So there is something very interesting about this particular temple. If once you observe this, you will feel like here they are trying to draw a temple. So this is actually the same temple that we are standing in right now. So this is the left side of the temple. On the back side of this pillar, they carved the back side of this temple, and the front side of the pillar is actually the front side of the main temple. So that is how they designed this temple very well. One more interesting thing in this temple is this Nandi. This Nandi is so famous that this village is named after this particular Nandi. Once we observe the left leg of the Nandi, there is an inscription found here. Archaeologists confirmed that this inscription is actually the signature of the person who carved this Nandi. So we are looking at a signature done by a person who lived 1000 years ago. So if you observe the face of this Nandi, you can see even the facial veins of this Nandi. So this is the perfection they tried to get while carving this Nandi. Just imagine what was going through their minds while they were doing this particular work. Villagers told me an interesting story about the broken leg of this Nandi. So this particular leg is a cement construction. Actually the whole Nandi is a stone built one, but this leg is cement constructed. The thing is, when Aurangzeb's soldiers came to destroy this temple, they destroyed all the idols in the temple compound, but when they broke the leg of this Nandi, they heard a loud and horrifying sound. They were frightened hearing to that sound, and they left the temple without spoiling the main deity, that is the Shivalingam. So that's the interesting story behind this broken leg of the Nandi. And the ears were also broken by the invaders. So one more interesting thing about this Nandi is, this Nandi actually looks to the left side of the Shiva. So there is another ancient temple a few kilometers away from this place, and we have also done a video about that temple. If you haven't watched it yet, the link is in the description. So in that particular temple, the Nandi looks to the right side, and here it looks to the left side. We don't know whether they planned it or it's just a coincidence, but this is an interesting thing to know. And one more thing is, the inscriptions also mentioned that the Shivalingam in this temple is energized in such a way that daily darshan of this temple can give you mukti and also ishta kamyartha siddhi, means your dharmic wishes would come true. The villagers also believe that this particular Ganesh idol is very powerful, but the invaders broke the stomach and the trunk of this idol. And you can also see that hands of the Dwarapalakas were actually broken. Temple priests always played a very important role in protecting and preserving the culture of this country. Not like one or two persons, for generations together they worked in same temples, protecting the same temple and the culture and heritage. Presently, Panduranga Sharmagaru is serving as the temple priest in this temple. At least he is the 5th generation priest in the same temple. They don't even know from how many generations they are working in the same temple. And now he is training his kids also to work in the same temple, and that is something interesting and huge respect for them. So he is the next generation priest for the temple. What's your name?
My name is Rameshwar Joshi.
You can smile. Now we are standing at the museum hall where all the broken idols were preserved. Some of the idols were carved in memory of some brave warriors who died in 11th century. Let's see them all. Now we came back to the main gate that I told you earlier. So if you observe that this is actually the Sila Toranam of Kakatiyas. What is this Sila Toranam doing here in the temple which was built by Chalukya rulers? The thing is, after Chalukyas, Kakatiyas ruled this place. As part of renovating the temple, they constructed this Sila Toranam here as their signature. If you observe, there are 6 holes on the Sila Toranam, and each hole is indication for each season that we have. For example, if it's summer season, the sun rays will pass through the first hole to fall directly on the main Shivalingam. That is how it works. If it's rainy season, the sun rays will pass through the second hole. Now it's actually not working because of a small earthquake that happened few centuries ago. Otherwise, that's a fabulous construction. Actually, there were many more inscriptions found in this area. The inscriptions mentioned names of those kings, the places they won, the places they lost, their success stories, and many more. I have told you some few things that are important and interesting for us to know. The inscriptions also mentioned that Sanskrit is the official language of Kalyani Chalukyas. Though they were actually Kannadigas, Sanskrit was their official language, and that's the reason why most of the inscriptions were inscribed in Sanskrit language. In the Kalyani Chalukyas' time, this was a grand 5.5 acre temple which was later destroyed. That's the reason why you can see lots of Shivalingas and lots of many more idols in this area. In those days, a Veda Pathshala was running in this area. So that's all about the history of this temple. But the sad thing about this temple is presently this temple is run by the money given by devotees and donors. This temple actually deserves a lot more attention from the government, and we hope that this temple will be developed by the government as soon as possible. And this is all about this temple, and if you have liked this video, please don't forget to subscribe and share the video to your friends and circle. Bro, one doubt. Rich temples like Tirupati, Srisailam, Kashi are maintained by government, right? Why can't government take care of this old temple? That's all for today. See you. Bro, answer my question, bro.